So I didn't really know what to do. And also, sorry if this is all weird. I could probably turn that light off, and I just might. Because I know we're on live stream, and I know I'm probably not going to have anybody come in here because I haven't posted anything, and my YouTube community is very small. But I'm hoping that authenticity will lead me to, well, my people. mm, there's still no one here, which sucks because part of the reason I haven't YouTubed is because I like to have somebody to ricochet my ideas off of so that I can continue a line of thought. Because my thought process is a little sporadic. And in that is why I haven't made any videos. I'm also in my Christmas stuff. Merry Christmas! I say way after I began that because authenticity. Not everything's rehearsed and not everything is as neat and clean cut as all of the YouTubers like to make it out to be. And while I may have a lot of good things to say, when it comes time for me to put them in words, I often feel that my words are not strong enough. And I feel that that is because I come from a place in which you do not use words. And so when it comes to speaking to people, it's different. It's just like, I don't think that people that are diagnosed with schizophrenia, I do not believe them to be sick. Rather, could it be that they aren't sick and everyone else is sick? And while some other things they may be feeling might be out of tune, you could also look at it as maybe you're just not perceiving it at that level. And some things can get more aggressive, and just because they have those more aggressive waves of thought does not mean that they are theirs. They know that it comes from someone else. They just don't know who that someone else is. I like to think of people with schizophrenia as the attuned people. They're attuned, their bodies are working as they should because our bodies are in essence our bodies are kind of like they're tuning forks. Like the it's not that they're tuning forks, our bodies aren't tuning forks, but I'm sorry if this is a sporadic line of thought, but since where I come from, we don't use words. It's led to me being a little socially apprehensive because I notice people's body languages very, very easily. But I myself, up until recently, have not engaged in very much of that body language myself. It's been more of I'm busy watching everybody else. I don't pay attention to my own body language because I'm just a specter. And that's how I've lived most of my life. Sometimes I catch myself with the accidental lisp, and instead of beating myself down about it, I go, there goes that lisp again. Self-love is very evident in helping the event come to fruition. you have to have that self-love to be able to feel like you need to give back. You can feel this love, and you can feel it, but can you bestow it onto others? And I made this about what we could get along, and I started talking about schizophrenia. If that tells you how many ideas I've had for videos, and that's why I haven't posted anything, is because I've got so many different ideas. But when it comes down to actually making the solidified thing to put it into, what I really need is someone else to help me write it down for me while I brainstorm and help me make the connections on paper. I mean, I could probably do that. Maybe. Maybe I'm just lazy. I don't feel that people I don't feel that some people like me, perhaps, not that everybody, but perhaps you're someone like me, and you get caught up in things, mostly being life, and by that I mean being an adult, working, worrying about money, thinking about, oh, when do I have free time? Because if you spend half your day at work, you don't have free time because you spend all your waking hours at work. And then when you're home, you're tired. So where does that apply the time for you to be able to be yourself? Because, and I'm saying not just from me, but I mean like everybody, and not just people that are like me and attuned to the way that I am. I lost my train of thought. I was looking at my painting, which, I mean, it's not like good, it's very abstract, and it's kind of, I painted it, and I think it has to do with the event, and it's not done. It actually technically has more that I need to work on, but it is no longer wet. Here, wait. So, I'm going to show you this painting real fast, because I did this the other day, and it's not good, but it's abstract, and this is like, honestly, my fourth painting, and it's not done. Anyway, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. If you guys want to create something, don't stop yourself just because you don't think you'd be good enough at it, because you're not going to be good at it the first time. We don't come here in this life, I guess, expecting to feel judgment. I feel that every human being, when they come into this life, they do need someone to basically bow to their will and such for a short time, just so they can realize that they are loved and that they're safe and that this new world they're in, they don't have to cry as much for the time being. So the weird thing about showing my paintings on camera is that a lot of mine is textural work. So the way I work is I like to feel things. And not only do I like to feel things, but since I like to perceive things differently, When I create art, a lot of things can be interpreted different whenever you take the painting and then you angle it and you get different light sources. And that's the entire point. I would, in other words, if I were to ever get good enough to be put in a museum, I would like my exhibit to be where people could pick up my canvases and move them around. I don't care how much they cost. I want people to have the novel experience of experiencing them. I'd like them to be careful with it, and if they know that they can mess with it, I trust that people would be careful with it. And that's something I find important, is that many of us have lost that basic trust. That if we leave this here, is somebody going to take it? And I hate that I have to think that. But if they take it, then maybe they need it. And that's a good way to look at it. But also, what led them to take it rather than ask? For every action, there's always a consequence. And when you stop thinking as adults as anything more than children, you're giving people the sense of, I'm different from kids, when really you're not. You just had more experience. The only way you're different is that you're dead inside. Little kids actually know how to live because it's all they know how to do. This is like before they were taught that they can't do it. Oh, no, you shouldn't do that. Oh, that's not very you-like. Perhaps because you're in, the wrong body, or perhaps just because you don't feel your gender fits into polarities. You don't have to be purely masculine or purely female. And I know I'm kind of ranting, and it's not just about the New Earth stuff, but I do want to actively put these ideas out there, because I spend far too much time thinking about them and then never putting it out there. And I feel like I need to start manifesting these ideas. And I'm apprehensive about this because being genuine and like being a genuine open person and being myself and saying things that I probably on some level consider myself crazy for even thinking, because I grew up in this world. But I know that I'm not crazy. It's perplexing. And I know my train of thought has just went somewhere totally else, but I wish for you, when you watch this, that rather than just listen to me, I'd like you to think back in your head as I speak, because I don't want it to be like a corny prompt. But when I listen to people like Alan Watts, I do the same thing. I want to keep your brain ticking, and then I want to hear what you say down in the comments. And this is really what I want. I want to build a community. Because me as a person, my life thus far has led me, and sorry if I get emotional, because I'm not used to talking about things, because I don't talk to people. And if I talk to people, it's on a very superficial level. And I mean superficial for me. Maybe not like superficial for everyone else. Because I find that for me, I want some very deep connections. I don't just want mediocre connections. I guess I like my connections like I like my bath water. Hot enough to scald me. And sorry if I get self-reflective as well. I kind of want to share my novel experiences with you guys. I don't want to hide it and then show you a more well-rehearsed version of it. I'd really just like to, you know, show you it. And I know my room's a mess. That's another thing is authenticity. My room is a mess. I'm kind of a mess. But I think that that lies in the fact that I've lived in places where a lot of the things I have to worry about here, I didn't have to worry about. And so it's like, for me, I'm like, why are people worrying about these things? It's dumb. And if you feel like that, I want to get to know you. I want to make a community. I really, really do. Because we have some kind and warm-hearted and open-minded people in the communities that are trying to open up to the fifth dimension, of which I'm attuned to. I believe that on my lives that I have not spent on Earth, which I have spent many on this planet at this point, when I am not. Sorry, I'm messing with my ring. Actually, ooh, sorry. It's got little chakra stones. But I don't remember the train of thought I was going with before I had trying to explain what I was doing. I do that a lot. So excuse me, because it's a bad habit. Because I get self-conscious. And I'm trying to fix it. And that's okay. That's okay. If you realize a bad habit and you don't like it, and you know it's a bad habit, and you're trying to let it go, it's okay if you relapse and you go, oh, my bad. As long as you realize that you did it. Acknowledging it is half the battle. Sometimes you just want to shrug it off like, ooh, I didn't do that thing that I didn't want to do, but I did. On that, getting us to the ascension though, back to the point after 20 minutes of more procrastinating. That's what I'm best at. I'm really good at procrastinating. If we want to attune ourselves to the fifth dimension, we must become our child self. And those of you that may struggle with schizophrenia or autism, perhaps, I think, and this is just coming from self-experience, that people with autism are just acclimated to different dimensions. Like, they've lived in different worlds, so whenever they come into this one and it's so blaringly and blatantly different, they end up being the different ones because, well, we aren't as attuned in these body forms. Like, most of us have shut down our attunements through negative experiences and other people telling them that that stuff doesn't exist, and that could be from, you know, just how people act or how people look at you whenever you're a child. Like, it doesn't take much for you to figure out that your ideas aren't welcome. And I find that when you dig into that child psychology, you can truly figure out the self, because the self is the child, because the child is the divine self. And in that, the divine self is always at your access. It's just whether or not you choose to go with your gut instinct, because your gut instinct is, well, your inner will, your inner child. And in that inner will, you will find that you should follow it, even if it seems risky. It seems like it could be bad. For the most part, if you're sure of it and you're sure from your gut, like, there's just a knowing. If you're sure that there is a knowing, you should do it. I know that most of this is going to be like rambling, but I'll probably have to go back and watch it again because I'm a mess. But that's okay. I'm pretty sure everyone else is too. None of us have it all figured out. Everybody likes to act like we do. Nobody does. I spend too much time trying to figure out how to present myself rather than just being like, well, here it is, and it may not be pretty, and it may not be what you expect, but this is me and this is my life. I find that since I spend so much time taking care of other people, like, as I said, my room is a mess. I spend so much time taking care of other people as a job. I've worked as a CNA for a long time, and spending all that time just taking care of people, which is fine. I enjoy taking care of people. I enjoy the connections, and I enjoy giving the people I take care of this sense of security and this sense of, well, I like that person. I'm glad that person is going to be the one that comes and takes care of me today, because I don't see very many people. And that's really what it is for a lot of my residents. I don't see a lot of people. So just like children, whenever they don't see a lot of people, they want the attention too, because they're lonely. And I get that, because I'm lonely. I can show you my socks. How do you donate? There is no donations. Like, this isn't a donate. This is a, I want to get people in the good vibrations. I show you my sock. But in that, I really just, I want to get people feeling the love. I want to get people where they're radiating the warmth, because that warmth is what's going to lead us to the ascent. And the ascent is, well, what we're trying to accomplish. Well, we know what's going to happen, but we can speed things up with a little nudge. I'm not removing my socks. I'm cold. Sometimes it needs a little nudge, right? And to start that nudge, you have to start acting out of goodness. And right now we've got a lot of people acting out of goodness because it's Christmas, but when Christmas is over, who's going to be doing it? It's kind of sad. And we do have people that do it, but they don't do it with the warmth. It's kind of like they're there and they're doing it, but they're doing it kind of like... I was watching people on the news earlier. Can you? I don't know, that's your free will. That's the fun of life, is life. This is what I like to think of life. Life is like a video game. Alright? Albeit, with the way we currently perceive things, the video game isn't that great. Because as we've grown up, we've forgotten how great the world can be. Because other people told us that the way we thought of the world maybe wasn't quite right, but some of us maybe took that a little too close to heart. And I know that there are other people like that are like me. Like, they feel like me. And I want to find more people that feel like me. I guess I'm trying to find my people right now. I'm trying to find my star people. It sounds weird when you put it into words, but I spend most of my time thinking this instead of saying it. I try to be positive. Sometimes the negative emotions can overwhelm me, and I can show you my sock again. Sometimes, just like everybody, my negative emotions can get to me, like road rage, like, oh, that mother bleeper, whatever. I don't know. I also do like to study and keep up without socks. My feet are nasty. You don't want to see my feet without socks. Hello. How are you? Oh no. Samneric? Temeneric? Samneric Temeneric. I like that. That's catchy. I don't want to stand up. And you don't. I'll show you. I mean, if you really want to see my bare feet, I'll show you. But it ain't pretty, just like my legs aren't shaved. See? Look. They're gross feet because I work all the time, and they've even got paint at the bottom of them because I walk barefoot. I walk barefoot all the time. I walk barefoot outside. My feet are rough and grown, and look at that. It is not hot. These are the feet of someone that likes to walk on the earth with my bare feet. I don't like wearing shoes. I'm only wearing socks because my feet are cold. Oh, God. No. I'm not here for that. If you want to get your root chakras off, get your root chakras off. That's not what I'm here for. I don't mind indulging you a little bit, but I'm not going to be there to I'm not going to be there to be the one to literally knock your socks off while I take my socks off, alright? I'll pass. I'll pass on that. I got something under my ass. What do I have under my ass? This is important because this is very telling of the things I'm trying to manifest right now. Do you want to see some of the other things I've painted other than this thing, which is really very interpretation-y, and also very hard to make out because, well, I smoked a lot of weed. Let's see, here is... I'm rad. I got those for Christmas today, and then I went to work. But see, here is, oops, I didn't mean to take the paint off. This is oil paint, and it dries very, 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 very slow. I do like the way that I've textured the waves. I feel that I like my paintings to feel like I'm envisioning them. Oops, I got paint on my phone. Oh no. If that shows you how unaware I am of my physical environment, I don't know what does. I was scrolling up to read. Thank you. Let me show you. Alright, so what I like to do, and I might move this over here. What I like to do, I'm trying to mess with the lighting because my paintings are very interpretation-y and very lighting based. This is what I've interpreted as the earth, and it's almost like I channeled this information. It's not like I had a solid idea going into this. Many of my paintings, I don't have a solid idea going into it. I purely let my subconscious draw and go as it will, because that subconscious is me and my experiences. Sometimes we like to doubt those experiences because all we know from our sight and sound at the moment is what we know in this life. But here, I interpreted this as, I'm still interpreting it because I haven't finished painting it. But so far, what I have, and I'll flip the phone around, is, alright, this is a dragon of sorts. You can see right here, he's got the different little lines. He's kind of got these two little not very well drawn teeth. He doesn't have extra teeth because this isn't, he's not a bad dragon, albeit I've painted him black. I do not feel that he's a bad dragon. I did not get this essence of badness from him, and this is some sort of energy. I happen to coincide very much so with blue and pink, so if I overuse that, that's just because of personal taste. Is these are my two favorite colors. This is blue and pink. But in my painting, I don't know if you can tell, but there's actually underlying patterns before I actually painted this picture. This is an afterthought. I was painting the patterns before I painted the picture, and then I just kept adding and adding and adding, and this is what I ended up with. I'm very much so not used to painting. This is like my fourth painting, and I'm still getting used to it, and so I appreciate the feedback, because while it's one thing to judge your own art, we as humans are social creatures, and if you're like me, you don't talk to a lot of people, but a lot of people know you. And actually, I want to point something out because I'm the one that painted it. I have a whole bunch of extra underlying tones in here. It can look messy, but I kind of like it. As I said, I like my paintings to be textured. I like them to kind of have a feel to them. You can almost feel the energy just by looking at it. And I guess that's kind of where my art comes into, because I'm a feeling person. I like to feel things. I don't like to just look at them. That's fine. I mean, that's cool. looking at things. It's like watching TV. I want to feel it too, you know? And these are kind of like intrinsic little hairs that I end up doing. Sometimes I paint and I'm like, oh crap, I messed up. But that's okay. And I don't think that anybody necessarily has talent for it. Everybody has these capabilities. It's not a unique talent. It's just whether or not you've chosen to culture that particular skill. You know, whether or not you at some point decided that that's something you wanted to do. And if it's something you thought about, but maybe thought that, you know, you wouldn't be good enough at it, or that you wouldn't be able to create something that would measure up to maybe your expectations, don't let that doubt keep you from doing it, because I'd done that most of my life because I was too self-conscious, and partially because I didn't get affirmation from other people. And I don't think it's a theory, because as many people as are in the world, it's a little bit ludicrous to think that synchronicities aren't going to happen. Everything is interconnected, and I've had these realizations since I was a child. In science class, when we were reading about, I don't know, the cycles, the water cycles. So go back to the little earth here that I was making about after the ascension. Basically, after the ascension, I feel that our earth is going to go through tremendous turmoil before it gets better. But I can't tell if this is from New Earth or Old Earth, or if this is currently us making New Earth. And actually, I'm on one right now. Let's see. But see here, I actually, looking at it right now, I can come to more interpretations than I could, you know, before. If I were to smoke some cannabis, I would definitely be able to see some other stuff, and I could probably even start painting. I'm still working on stuff, because I did want him to have an eye here, right there. But I ended up messing that up. Wait, are you talking about strands? Because unfortunately, I live in a state that only has medical legal, and I haven't been able to go get my medical card yet. Because I work all the time, and I know I can qualify because weed has saved my life. And honestly, if I hadn't have been smoking pot, I probably would have killed myself a year ago, or at least tried to again. This was kind of supposed to be more wispy, more hair-like, but I can kind of go back in, and this is like his aura, all right? This is everyone else's energy. He's got kind of like this purple aura, but it's not like a menacing purple. That's partially, if the purple seems menacing, which it slightly does to me, it's probably because I only have the palette that I have paint for. And while I can mix stuff, you can't mix all colors into light when you have cheap paint. I was trying to read a comment. How old am I? I'm 22. I just... Anyway, I'm interpreting my painting. This is some extra energy. I was putting more of the light streaks whenever I painted this. I have thought processes and premonitions whenever I am painting, because when I paint, it's almost like the story unfolds. I'd like to be able to set it up at some point where people can watch me paint, perhaps a live stream where everybody can watch the painting as it unfolds, because that's truly what it's like whenever I paint. It's intuitive, not planned. I'm really bad at planning, but I'm really good at intuitive things. I'm really bad about anything that this world says we should be good at, but I'm really good at everything that the world says, that's okay. This is the modern world. I also have taken that to where I kind of delved into shamanism. I do come from the Choctaw tribe, and I know I'm just showing you my painting, and it's partially because I'm looking at it, and if I put myself back on the camera, that then puts my ego on, which is going to make me more self-conscious. That's part of the reason I probably had a hard time talking at the beginning of the live stream. Well, part of it. I'm sorry. Listen, I've got some pride in my work. And this right here, I don't know, something about this, like just this pattern is just like, it just feels nice. I do like that even just looking at portions of my painting rather than trying to judge it as a whole can have therapeutic effects, which is nice to know. I'm very focused on healing because there is a sickness when it comes to humans. People are sick with worry and defense. We're sick with us versus them. We're sick with anything outside of me might not be trustworthy, so I'm not gonna trust it. But more biting at the hands that need help is only going to create more biting. Sometimes people just need to be shown that they can be unconditionally loved so that you can get the true goodness out of it. And I say that sometimes, but I mean like all the time. Everybody needs it. Nobody doesn't need that. Because we're all human. And in that, I think it's funny that while in our current incarnations and in our current world as we speak, before the ascent, that we're so backwards thinking from the rest of the universe, that they've basically quarantined us. Is a sad thought. We're kind of on a prison planet. And I think that if you take that without judgment, like if you take what I've said without judgment about this being a prison planet, that it's kind of like I don't know what MK Ultra is. I'm disconnected with social media, and I'm also disconnected with I guess modern stuff, like pop culture. I've never been into it. Like, it's just never been something that I've gravitated towards. It's like, oh, cool, pop culture. I don't know. I like philosophy. I like astronomy. And I've always been like that. And if I get emotional again, I'm sorry. Oh, I might have heard about it, but I haven't delved into actually looking into it, if you know what I mean. Because it sounds familiar. I just thought it was going to be like a movie or something, because I've got some friends where they're like, actually almost everybody I know is like, hey, this movie though, or hey, this character reference though. And I'm like, I don't really watch movies unless I've already seen them 1,000 times. Okay, I do really like how this texture is. And you can see the parts where I'm not done. Like, I'm going to go back in with this with something else. This isn't done. This part is done. This part right up here, this is done. I'm not touching that anymore because this is magnificent. But this I still need to work on. I want to show you down here. I actually, whoop, when I draw things, sometimes, or it's not really drawing, when I paint them, I like to then turn them into spirits or representations of things that I saw while I was painting it, and almost like make it easier for other people to see. So this is what I've done. This is a water spirit. Well, I could have interpreted it as the water spirit, simply because I knew it was there. I felt like because this is a medium, I must put my thought process onto the medium, so I must accentuate that thought process for certain things. And this is this little spirit. Not necessarily water, but sort of like this essence of life, which, I mean, I guess is water. Fun fact, did you know that when I was little, and as much as I love water, I will sit in the bath forever? I used to call water agu. Agu melon. No, that's what I used to call watermelon, is agu. Why? I don't know. I could probably move this around and put you a different... I might turn that off. I could turn that off. I was going to show you my other paintings. Be damned. I'm really good at procrastinating, and I'm really good at forgetting what I was doing. But aren't we all? And that's really what I'm trying to do, is show everybody a little bit of... That's okay. This is one I was working on. It's not done. But this one was done with acrylics. So while it's not texture based, I'll just turn it around this way. I got this one, and I got this one. It's over here. I want to point out, because it's important, since I like to do my art in a way of feeling. You see how the painting has little wavelengths, and that's because I feel like this is a planet. This is a planetary being of sorts. I totally would, but I'm on YouTube. Not that I condone it. I mean, I do. It's medicine of sorts, if you're strong enough in yourself to make sure you're staying with it as medicine. Which sometimes I struggle with, because it's kind of like I use it to cope with having to live. It's like I use it to cope with having to live in our society. There, that. And there's my Mario Odyssey. And that's not something I did, but I bought it at a garage sale, and there's my other painting. I'm about to rotate it back over. Do you guys want to see my aura? I did get a picture of my aura taken a while back. It's actually red, and what the medium told me is that it's strong, and that's evident by the fact that you can not see my face very well. It's red, which can have a lot of mixed things in it. Of course, I was with someone else that day who also happened to be of a red aura, which could have had something to do with it, because I do tend to feed off of other people. So I almost wonder, if I were to go back and then let them take my picture again, what my aura would be by myself after I've attuned myself to myself rather than somebody else. Because I find that when you are easily adaptable to other people, that sometimes you can lose your sense of self, because you ignore yourself because you're trying to make outwards connections. And when you totally ignore the self, trying to piece things together, you sort of lose this gravitational pull that you need to keep other people around you so you can form more connections. It's kind of like, as I've grown up, I've actually grown so scared. And if I start crying, I'm sorry. I've become so scared of being myself, because, well, I'm pretty sure, and multiple times in my life, I don't remember instances, but I imagine there's been multiple times, many, because I'm a little brash sometimes, and I tend to rush head forward into things. And in that, I'm not just talking about with people. I'd like to actually jot some stories down. I do a lot of things. I trek out into my woods, honestly, with me and a couple of dogs and a bag of water bottles that I sometimes put rocks in on my hikes. And I go out on hikes, and I mean, like, in the brush, not just like on a hiking trail. I mean, like, in the brush, in the wilderness. And I'm kind of mapping my area and getting to know the earth, because I feel like at some point I've lost that. I feel like it was within this life, but I think the problem is that our timelines are kind of messed up. It's kind of like, at some point we were a very advanced civilization and we lost ourselves. I don't believe that this earth is going up for the first time into the fifth. I believe that we had been in the fifth, perhaps not in our physical manifestations. Because, as some channelers have said, and I like to take everything with a little grain of salt with the other channelers and everything, because it really is that you don't know what you're getting, because the timelines are, time doesn't work. And I'm going to eventually paint what I see when I envision time, and for that I'm going to have to draw it out. So if that takes a while, excuse me, because it's probably going to have some sort of sacred geometry that I don't understand, that I understand. And that's the novelty of rediscovering who you actually are in our current society, which is really what people need to do to wake up and attune themselves so that when the event happens, we can create a bigger bridge. Because we're going to need all that loving and goodness and, uh, you know that you know yourself and to know that you know that you know. And to not second guess yourself. I feel like there are many people that feel like I do. I feel like it'd be more ludicrous that it is just me. There's so many people in the world and so many beings in the universe, and I should know. I've talked, or rather, I've not really talked. I haven't met them in person, but I've actually had some messages from Horus, aka Hermes Trismegistus. I've actually had a little bit of communication with those that would have been considered the old gods, which they're not actually gods, they're just higher dimensional beings that were interpreted as gods until we got so disconnected from our past that it was no longer safe for them to return. Either because we were too violent or too whatever. It sounds crazy to say it out loud because, well, we've got powers that be that feed on the negative energy. And those powers that be that feed on the negative energy would not want our true history to be told. Because if our true history on this planet were to come out, that would put to question all of the laws that they have written down. All of the, not just laws, I mean laws as in like everything. The rules, the social structure. They've been building this for so long that it's ingrained in people. People have truly forgotten. And so it is a blessing that the event is coming, because that will release many people from the shackles that the Dark Ones have put upon them. And I might just be speaking for my higher self right now. I don't know. But I think that part of the reason I struggle with social interactions is because me as a person must be finely attuned so that well, all I have really been told, and albeit I've been iffy on announcing this, but I feel like I should. I've been told that I will lead come the fifth dimension, and perhaps before. It depends on my own decisions as well as the world's and timelines. But weak rallying attempt at gaining more like-minded individuals in this almost hour mark on my live stream. Oh, also, with this whole authenticity thing, I'm not wearing any makeup. So, totally uncovered and everything. That's okay. I almost kind of I might change the way I do my makeup. I've been thinking about that. Because for a second I want to say I want to stop doing my makeup. I was like, oh, I don't really want to stop doing my makeup. I just want to do it differently. I think I want to stop wearing as much foundation. I think I might just stop wearing foundation. Because my skin's not that bad. And I believe that positive manifestations also lie in the not totally covering yourself up, but still allowing yourself to have this sort of expression. And in that, I also feel like makeup is a manifestation in and of itself, because if you constantly think of yourself as having certain eyebrow features, which when I was little, and I come from a family of sparse eyebrows, my eyebrows have actually grown in shape and in bushiness as I've gotten older. Well, I could chalk that up to genes, which could play in a factor, but for my family, it doesn't look so. I'd rather that it was me manifesting changes in my body simply by saying, I kind of wish it was a little bit more that way, a little bit more this way, but not doing it in a way that was like a hatred, and not like a, oh, why can't it be this way? Oh, why can't it be that way? I want to be like that. I want to be like them. But in a, I just like it just a little bit more if it was a little bit more like this, because I feel like that would be more me. Like if you were creating a character, back to the round of video games. I'm biting my lip because I'm thinking about what to say next. Because I know there's someone watching, but they haven't said anything in a while. It's probably because you're smoking if it's still Kush Boy. I had another painting I finished yesterday. I can figure out where I put that so I can show it to you. I don't know why I keep tapping my phone. On a side note, do you guys want to see what I got for Christmas? It's a mushroom pillow. My family knows me so well. They probably all think I'm a little crazy, but I tell them I'm not crazy. Maybe everyone else is. And they look at me like, I don't believe you. Because I'm not very good at making what's actually in my head come out like everyone else would interpret it as what I want it to be. And I do this a lot. It's just me being bad at communicating. Perhaps, again, because I came from a place where we did not need to communicate on those wavelengths of thought. Because I like to think of our world as waves, because that's what they are. They're particles, and particles make waves. And also, if you think about them as atoms and everything else, they all follow the same basic structure of waves. And if our bodies are a receiver, then wavelengths. I found my watercolor thing that I was painting yesterday. This one. Whew. It felt funny. Oh. Am I getting tired? I don't feel tired. What? You want to say hi? This is Polka. Polka, 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 polka. And yes, this is from Zhao Shrew. Hey, darling. She was named after a video game character that I never finished playing the game from. But I really like the character. That's all that really matters to me, and that's okay. Because some people, they're like, you didn't even finish the game. It's my little brother. Alright, that doesn't mean I couldn't enjoy the fractal of what I did play. And maybe I want to remember it by having a cat. Or something else. I was actually referencing the fact that I have a Dark Souls 3 statue that I got with Dark Souls 3, and I haven't played Dark Souls 3, and my brother, who absolutely loves Dark Souls, wants it. And, you know, now that I am going into the, it's kind of like, used to, I was like, no, that's mine. Now I'm kind of like, he can have it. And I might give it to him later, actually, because if it matters more to him, then I don't feel like I should be greedy, because it's not the wavelength I'm trying to promote. On that, here's one of my paintings, which also could be considered channelings of sorts, because I draw from the intuition. And I kind of think that this is... Sorry, the cat is trying to love on me. This is... And I do think that it should go like this. This is... I think it's Sirius, but I'm not sure. It could be a part of Sirius, obviously. The Sirius planet I'm talking about is a very, very big planet. But I do really like how I have this like 4D type cube that I managed to make out of water. And like, for someone that is like depthfully challenged, I'm like, to other people, they may be like, alright, that's cool, and I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not good at that. And I think that I've lacked encouragement so much from my childhood that I just... It's kind of like a... I almost want to say that it's kind of like a... I'm sorry if I'm having an epiphany right now. It's almost like I never got that affirmation that I could do things. If I start crying, that's because I just had an emotional breakthrough. Excuse me, and it's not a bad thing. If I shed tears, it's because I'm feeling, and that's okay, because I think many of us have forgotten how to feel, and that's just why we can be so hateful towards other people. Like today, for instance, I didn't like the way that we were watching the news. And, you know, they're talking about the migrant families coming and stuff. But they're fleeing from something obviously terrible, or they wouldn't be here. And I don't feel like it's right to judge them simply because, I don't know, they're not from your country, because you never walked a day in their shoes. And what are you going to greet them with? You're going to greet them with guns instead of saying, hey, well, tell me your story, and here's what I can do. I feel like at some point in our past, there was a time where we were a little bit more like that. And at some point, somebody convinced us that we shouldn't be like that anymore by dark manipulations. And so people have forgotten. And it makes me sad, because I've lived many incarnations on this planet, and I know I have. And I remember a time on this planet that we were connected, where there wasn't all this discourse. And I've lived many lives on this planet. I'm not simply a once incarnation and then I left and went to go create new worlds and whatever else, because that's what I feel like I have spent time tending. Because whenever I do decide to use old medicines, it's kind of like I like the old medicines because I like to investigate the old medicines. I like to get within that realm. And I mean, not just with people, but with animals, with the earth. I'm very much so about attuning my energies and sensing everyone else. And I'm trying to build on that. I'm building on that ability as we speak. And I feel like I'm at a vibrational frequency where I'm not worried about as many negative beings at the moment. But obviously, the more I am to be open with things that can speed up with the event, the more likely I am to be attacked. But I will not let them get the best of me, and I know that. When you're disconnected from that sense of allness, you kind of don't feel that everything's going to be okay. Like, everything's scary because you don't know. But since we're so lost, I wanted to show the love. She's trying to show everybody the positive vibes. Hi. Here. I'm going to turn this over this. What? Wait. Because Kitty loves positive vibrations. She needs the loving, and I guess part of this is about what we can do to raise our spiritual vibrations so that we can speed along the event, right? And that is to just love other beings. That's it. Like, that's all you got to do is take a little time out of your day to give to someone else. And once you find out that by giving to someone else, you receive so much more. And I don't mean giving to a church. I don't mean giving money. What kind of God wants money? What's he going to do with money? That's right. He's not going to do anything with money because those are simple and dumb things. We don't need money. We just put it there because we want something to gain. It's not because we want something to exchange. It's because we want something to gain. It's a way of getting things without, I don't know, doing anything. It's kind of lazy. It's kind of like before people would trade arts and crafts, things that they actually had to use their brain for. And now all we do is exchange money for our time. Yes, money for our time. And then we ignore precious beings like this one. Which, I'm sorry, Polka, if I've been ignoring you. I'm an adult. And I'm kind of like attuning her energies too. Oh, I know you're mad because I'm holding the phone. That's what she's mad about. Let me see. I'm going to try to set this up so that we may be back together and she can have both hands. That's what she wants, is both hands. Come here. Moki. That's just my sweater. Animals pick up on our vibrations better than people do. They're really good, like they're attuned with their radars in their bodies. That's why they perceive things so much faster than we do most of the time. It's because they are attuned to this world and what this world entails. Many human beings are not attuned to this world. We are attuned to our society, but not attuned to this world. Because our society is out of balance, because it is that of a sickness rather than that of a functioning society, which the best kind of machines run themselves until something happens. And obviously, we aren't in one of those machines, so why aren't we tearing down all of the fake structures we began with and building new ones? Because if we were to do that, then people would have to think. And therein lies why thank the heavens that hopefully will be ascended. Everybody's been saying it's coming, and I'm like, not if we can't get people on. I mean, we can, but the dark ones are plotting things, and I don't have good feelings about the things that they're trying to do to prevent it. It makes me nervous. I don't even know what they're doing, but I have a sense, and that sense is out of which I cannot tell. It is just a sense. It's a feeling, and it has a texture to it. A color, slightly, perhaps. Sorry, I was focused on the cat. I like to get caught up in giving them love because they crave it just as much as we do. And if you give them love, unlike humans, you're going to receive it back. Humans are apprehensive about giving their love because there's been so many toxicities towards them as we age. Like, people are not nice to each other in our current world, but that doesn't mean it has to be like that, and it doesn't mean you have to be guarded. Sometimes when things are the darkest, even if it makes you different and even if it's scary, you should choose to stand out. Because if you don't stand out and change things, who will? You know? I mean, sure, there are going to be people, but those people aren't going to be you. And what other thoughts could you have to potentially stand out? Because it's all important, because we're all interconnected. There's a oneness and a sameness. If everything goes in a cycle, so do we. And that's not even with counting that everything is energetically connected. She is just having fun. What? Oh. Come here. You needed this attunement, didn't you? Yes. I might let you guys go
because, well, never mind. There's two people here. I can't let you. I was going to say I might let you guys go so I can, like, give my cat the proper attention. Because, I don't know, I feel bad not giving her the proper attention right now. Because I feel like she needs it. And just giving that to my fullest would get her satisfied so that she could feel better. Because there's obviously something somewhere that's out of sync if she wants this much attention. It's kind of like about. I was going to go back to showing you it, but she's trying to get more attention from me. So I'm rubbing her and stuff. I know none of this is like what most YouTubers do about, but it's not fake. It's real, and I hope that to someone this genuine side of me picks up some more. Ah. Anyway, I got a cat on me. I might go and see you guys at a later date because this cat really wants me to rework her energy. And if she needs attunement, I'm willing to give it to her because that's what she's asking for right now is attunement. Because that's what we're here to do is we're here to tend. We're tenders, we're not destroyers. Ah, my nose is itching. But as tenders, not destroyers, we're here to maintain connections. We're here to continue the connections. So naturally, tenders find themselves in a world in which they cannot tend any longer because they are disconnected. Discourse will ensue because it's not natural. When things are natural, things are chaotic. It's simply foolish to assume that just because things are the way they are doesn't mean that they have to be. It's a thought process, not something that is binding to the whole. I got cat hair all over my face and it's making me itchy. Anyway, I'm going to go and attune the kitty because she is back. So, bye-bye. I'd like to say Ohana. And I'd like to say that if you joined me on my live stream or if you, I think I'll be able to post this after I get off live. But if you find it after I get off live and any of this resonates with you, I'd love to see a comment. And I just love to talk to you guys and get to know you. I want genuine connections. I'd like to build a real community, like a real community where you know pretty much everybody for their words. And not just their words, but their thoughts and the way they're seeing things. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.